7 Ways How to Stop Dogs from Barking at Neighbors. Unlike humans, dogs use barking as their primary mode of communication. It's the only way for them to express their excitement, worry, fear, or any other feeling they may be experiencing. It is, however, inconvenient and unpleasant for you to have a dog who barks at your neighbors. There have been instances where it has resulted in pretty significant disagreements. However, it is not always easy to put a halt to a barking dog's antics. It is common for individuals to make the mistake of shouting at their dogs to stop, which just serves to reinforce their behavior. Despite the fact that shock collars and other devices may be effective, their level of cruelty can range from minor to severe. Number 7. Ignore the barking. If he is barking solely to attract your attention or neighbors, you should simply ignore him until he stops. No touching, no petting, no staring, and no conversation until he comes to a halt is expected during this period. You can reward him with a treat after he has calmed down. You must wait until he has stopped barking before using this strategy. In the event that you give in after he has barked for half an hour, he will come to assume that he has to continue barking until you pay attention to him. He'll bark for an hour or more the next time he has the chance. It is best to turn your back to him and ignore him when putting him in the kennel. Because you have turned your back on your dog, he will begin to growl at you. As a result, wait until he has stopped barking before giving him a tasty reward. Because he is learning to be silent, you can gradually increase the amount of time he must remain silent before rewarding him. It is necessary to repeat this until he is able to remain calm for at least a couple of hours. Number 6. Teach him some quiet commands. Ideally, you should teach him to bark on demand before implementing this procedure. First, get him to bark by asking whether he wants something. After that, give him a few seconds to bark before rewarding him with a goodie. This method should be repeated until he barks every time you command him to talk. It is possible to train him to be quiet once he has mastered the ability to talk on cue. Number 5. Take him to a silent place and tell him to speak. You should use your quiet command and place some treats near your dog's nose if he starts to bark. Once he has stopped barking, you can reward him with the biscuits and compliment him on his obedience. Repetition of this procedure will ensure that he learns to stop barking on cue. After you have taught your dog to stop barking on command in a quiet environment, you can begin to introduce some disturbing circumstances gradually into his or her environment. Number 4. Ask him to do something different. To keep things interesting, every time your dog barks, ask him to do something completely different. Something that has nothing to do with barking has happened. Every time he encounters barking stimuli, you can train him to react differently. Begin by completing the following sentence. I'm putting some treats on his mat and telling him to go and lay down in his designated spot. When he comes to the mat to earn his treat, you can let him in via the doorway. Immediately close your door and tell him to proceed to his location. This should be repeated until he learns to remain on his mat whenever the door is open to the room. During this time, you can request that someone ring the doorbell for you. Provide him with a prize if he doesn't stand up. Number 3. Desensitize your dog to the stimulus. You should gradually become your dog acclimated to whatever it is that is causing them to bark if your dog has a specific trigger for barking. The stimulus, the thing that causes them to bark, should be introduced slowly and from a safe distance first. It has to be far enough away so they don't bark when they see it, or else they will become upset. Maintaining eye contact with you and not barking can earn them a lot of yummy treats. Introduce treats by moving the stimulus a bit closer, for example, by just a few inches or a few feet to begin. The moment your dog begins to bark, you have come too close to the stimuli. Make no attempt to be economical with treats. For example, if you need to pass another dog on your dog walk, have some high-value treats in your hand and give them regularly while you walk fast by the other dog, stopping only when there is an adequate distance between your dog and the other dog, as shown in the illustration. Number 2. Keep your dog tired. Every day, make certain that your dog receives enough physical and mental activity. Barking is less likely to occur in a fatigued dog due to boredom or displeasure. Depending on their age and condition, your dog may require frequent lengthy walks, as well as a nice game of chasing the ball and playing with some interactive toys to keep them happy and healthy. Number 1. Remove the motivation to bark. When your dog barks, he or she receives some sort of reward. They wouldn't do it if they didn't have to. Figure out what they are getting out of barking and put forth the effort to eliminate it. What should you do if your dog barks at neighbors? The behavior should be managed by closing the curtains or putting your dog in another area if they bark at people or animals passing by the living room window. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.